So we've come to a very important part of the house build, and that is I suppose the heart of the house, the fires. And in this particular house, our client's got two fires. One is a sort of drawing room open fire, and the other is a hallway log burner. I think we'll start with the log burner, because this is perhaps the more complicated one, because the log burner has to have its own sort of flue going up in the middle of the house. And I know we're a little bit concerned about size and the actual surround. So let's discuss what we're looking for. Lee, we're going for a surround here. What are the choices we have? I know that we could have perhaps stone, wood. As a builder, what's your preference?
To surround the actual opening of the log burner itself on the face of the chimney breast we have. I mean, there's various options. We could have a stone surround with a stone mantelpiece. Or we could have a stone surround with a timber mantle across the top. The actual face of the chimney breast could also be more decorative. We could have it made of brickwork, if not render. And also the actual chamber within could be rendered or face brickwork.
Gosh, a lot of choices.
So there's choices there.
Thank God we've got Lucinda here. I don't think I can make a proper choice. Lucinda, in terms of, we're going for the Georgian style, Lee's given us the choices there. What should we veer towards when we're trying to achieve that sort of Georgian look?
Your client's hall they want to keep quite a nice, simple feel. We already know that there's not going to be that much furniture in there, so I think you want to go with the cleaner lines of something like a collection moulding, so something without a shelf, not too ornate, no sort of fussy carving or detailing. Save that kind of pretty more Adam-esque design for the drawing room and keep it really nice and simple. I'd go with stone. Listening to what Lee had to say, I think it's going to give you a nice solid country elegant feel. And then combined with the wood burner, it won't feel like a sort of clash of cultures happening at the same time.
I know we actually had a photograph of...
I've got one here, in fact.
Here's one you made earlier.
Here's one I made earlier. So this is a very simple, this in fact is one in marble, but you can find collections in limestone. It's really worth looking through the salvage yards, seeing if you can find an old one, simply because the patina and the colour of a 200-year-old limestone collection moulding is going to be totally different to the cleaner lines of a new one. So if you want to get that feeling of age in the house, an old fireplace is the way forwards. But there's lovely, simple cushion detailing, really nice, weighty but elegant.
Talk to me about the hearth, because bearing in mind we're in a hallway, I can imagine me coming in with bags and dogs and tripping over a hearthway. Lee, what's the situation? Do we have to have a big hearth, or can we get away with something small, or even flush?
Well, flush is an option. I mean, there are regulations that govern the width of the hearth in the respect of, obviously, when the log burner door is open, there still needs to be a certain amount of hearth in front of the door.
See, another accident for me to do.
For logs and fuel rolling out. So there are regulations that govern us on that. But we could have a flush hearth, which is flush with the floor,
right.
Or we could have a raised hearth, which could sit 50, 60, 70 mil above your wood floor finish.
And bearing in mind the sort of look again that we're trying to achieve, what's the best? What should we be looking for in terms of textile, or in terms of stone?
I think for material, there is a sort of a fashion at the moment for using the more polished stone, say a black polished marble. But for your uses, I'd go for something softer, perhaps a flagstone, which again is going to keep that country feel. It would work with the dark, older limestone if we find that. So something sympathetic with your fireplace, nothing too polished, nothing too crisp almost in design. Go with something that's got a softness to it. And I think a pretty old flagstone hearth, flush with the floor, would be really perfect.
Great. Okay, well that's the log burner. One final question before I forget. What sort of gap are we looking at between the ceiling? Because this is not particularly high ceilings in this house. The ceiling and the fireplace around it.
Well, I think that you want to sort of have a midway line that you're looking at starting with. But generally, if you find a fireplace that you like, you can then scale it up on a piece of wall and have a look and see. It does vary hugely from house to house. This particular house, honestly, I wouldn't go really tall. I wouldn't go for one of those ones that when you stand next to it, it's coming up to sort of chest height. I think you want a slightly lower, relaxed one, because it would be really nice for you to have a lovely painting as the focal piece in that hall. So think about it as leaving enough space to hang a good painting over the fireplace, thereby giving you a lot of interest in the hall.
Great. Well, that's Log Burners. We'll be back next with Open Fires.